The council chamber on Prime was filled with fear. Ambassador stood before the holographic display, watching red markers spread across the star map like a disease. Each red dot represented a world conquered by the Horde. 12 systems had fallen in just 3 cycles. His people were next. "We must ask for help," said, his voice shaking. "We cannot fight them alone." The other council members shifted nervously. They were a peaceful species, tall and thin with pale blue skin. They had never known war. Their world was gentle, with soft rains and warm summers. They built beautiful cities and created art. The concept of violence was foreign to them until they came. "Who will help us?" Elder asked. "We have already sent requests to every member of the Galactic Union." Pulled up the responses. The crystalline had declined, saying their bodies were too fragile for combat. The hive-minded refused, stating that warfare disrupted their collective consciousness. The telepathic sent regrets, explaining that violent thoughts caused them physical pain. Every advanced species in the galaxy had said no. "They are afraid," admitted. "They are too strong, too brutal. No one wants to face them." "Then we are doomed," whispered. A young aide named hurried into the chamber, carrying a data pad. "Ambassador, I found something. There is one species we have not contacted." Took the pad and read. His eyes widened. "Humans, from Sector 447, I have never heard of them." "They are new to the Galactic Union," explained. "First contact was made only 2 years ago. They have observer status but no voting rights yet." Scrolled through the file. What he read made his heart sink. The human homeworld was classified as a Class 12. Their planet called Earth had extreme weather, dangerous predators, and deadly diseases. The gravity was higher than standard. The atmosphere was toxic to most species. Humans themselves were barely spacefaring, using primitive chemical rockets and basic fusion drives. "They are practically savages," said, reading over his shoulder. "What could they possibly offer us?" "Maybe nothing," agreed. "But they are the only ones we have not asked." The council voted. It was unanimous. They would send the message. Composed the transmission himself. He kept it simple, explaining that his people faced extinction and needed any help humanity could provide. He did not expect soldiers or weapons. Perhaps the humans could take refugees. Perhaps they could send medical supplies or food. Anything would be appreciated. He sent the message and waited. 3 days later, the response came. On Earth, in the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Hayone read the message for the 5th time. Around her, military advisors and politicians argued loudly. "We should stay out of it," said one politician. "This is not our fight. We just joined the galactic community. We should not make enemies." "We should make friends," countered another. "Helping them will show we are reliable allies." Hayone said nothing. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back tight. She had spent 40 years in the Pacific Fleet, working her way up from submarine officer to admiral. She had seen combat in the resource wars and the Arctic conflict. She knew what war cost. But she also knew what it meant to abandon people who needed help. "What are our capabilities?" asked the Secretary General. A military analyst brought up displays. "We have 300 warships ready for deployment. The new Dreadnought class is complete, with Captain Min commanding the lead ship, the UES Indomitable. We have 60,000 Marines trained and equipped. Our logistics chain can support extended operations." 300 ships, someone scoffed. "They have thousands." "Our ships are different," Hayone said quietly. Everyone stopped talking. When the admiral spoke, people listened. "They use energy weapons and shields like all galactic species. We use kinetic weapons, missiles, nuclear warheads. Our weapons move at a significant fraction of light speed. Their shields are not designed to stop them." "You think we can win?" the Secretary General asked. "I think we can help," Hayone replied, "and that is what they asked for." The vote took 6 hours. In the end, humanity decided to send aid. Captain Min received his orders while his ship hung in orbit above Earth. He was young for a captain, only 35, but he had proven himself during the Titan Rebellion. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with a calm demeanor that inspired confidence in his crew. "All ships report ready, Captain," his first officer said. Min looked at the star map. The journey to Prime would take 2 weeks at maximum faster-than-light speed. 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to get ready for humanity's first interstellar war. "Send a message to the fleet," he ordered. "We leave in 6 hours. Tell them to say goodbye to their families." His crew moved efficiently, carrying out orders. Min watched Earth rotating slowly below. Somewhere down there, his sister was probably worried about him. His parents would be proud but scared. His niece would not understand why Uncle Min had to go so far away. But someone had to go, someone had to help. Diplomat Ah boarded the Indomitable 4 hours before departure. She was assigned as the liaison between humanity and the. She was fluent in 17 languages, had degrees in and relations, and had a talent for making people feel comfortable. She found Captain Min on the bridge, reviewing tactical data. "Captain," she greeted him, "I wanted to introduce myself before we depart." Min turned and smiled. "Diplomat Ah, I read your file, impressive credentials." "Thank you. I wanted to discuss our approach with the. They are a peaceful species. They may be frightened by our military presence." "They asked for help," Min pointed out. "They asked for aid," Ah corrected gently. "They probably expect medicine or supplies, not 300 warships." Min considered this. "Then we will need to be careful with our first impression. I will rely on your guidance." Ah nodded. "They are not used to predators, Captain. We need to remember that when we meet them, they will see us differently than we see ourselves." "What will they see?" Min asked. "Monsters," Ah said honestly. "We are taller, stronger, faster. We have forward-facing eyes and sharp teeth. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day. To them, we are nightmare creatures. But we are here to help them." "Yes," Ah agreed. "We just need to make sure they understand that." 6 hours later, the human fleet departed Earth. 300 ships entered hyperspace together, leaving blue and white trails across the sky. On Earth, billions of people watched and hoped. In the system, desperate aliens waited for a miracle. Neither side truly understood what was coming. They expected a small relief force, maybe a few supply ships. The humans expected a fight. Both were right, but not in the ways they imagined. As the fleet traveled through the strange space between stars, Admiral Haywan sent one final message to Earth Command. It was simple and direct, the kind of message she had sent many times before in her long career. "Fleet is, estimated arrival in 14 days. Will assess situation and engage as necessary. Haywan out." 14 days, until humanity announced itself to the galaxy. 14 days, until the peaceful species of the Galactic Union learned what could do. 14 days until everything changed. The orbital station sensors started screaming warnings all at once. Technician nearly fell from his chair in shock. The display showed impossible readings. Ships were coming out of hyperspace, dozens of them, hundreds of them. "Get Ambassador," shouted. "Get him now." Within minutes, rushed into the command center. He stared at the display in disbelief. 300 contacts, 300 warships, all of them broadcasting human identification codes. "This cannot be right," he whispered. "We asked for aid, not an invasion fleet." The human ships moved into formation with disturbing precision. They were bulky and angular, nothing like the smooth curves of galactic vessels. They bristled with what looked like weapons. Lots of weapons. A communication request came through. Accepted it with trembling fingers. The holographic display showed a human woman in a dark blue uniform. She had gray hair and cold eyes that seemed to look right through him. This is Admiral HFY of the United Earth Forces. We received your request for assistance. We are here to help. Tried to speak, but no words came out. He had expected maybe 10 ships, maybe 20 at most. Not this, never this. Ambassador, the human admiral asked, are you receiving this transmission? Yes, finally managed. Yes, Admiral, we are grateful for your response, but we did not expect such a large force. You said your people were facing extinction, HFY replied, her voice flat and calm. We do not do things halfway. Captain Min will come aboard your station with a delegation. Please prepare docking bay 7. The transmission ended before could respond. 30 minutes later, a human shuttle docked with the station, waited at the airlock with a security team, though he knew his guards would be useless if the humans meant harm. They had never developed weapons more dangerous than crowd control tools. The airlock cycled open. The first human through was enormous, wearing black armor that made him look even bigger. He carried a weapon that seemed far too large for any reasonable purpose. Behind him came more soldiers, all armed, all wearing helmets that hid their faces. Then the leader stepped forward and removed his helmet. Captain Min was not as large as his soldiers, but he was still taller than any. He had dark eyes and short dark hair. When he smiled, saw teeth. Sharp, white teeth designed for tearing meat. A predator's smile. Ambassador, Min said, his voice surprisingly gentle. Thank you for allowing us to dock. I am Captain Min of the UES Indomitable. Could not stop staring. The human's eyes were positioned at the front of his face, giving him binocular vision. A hunter's eyes. His shoulders were broad and muscular. His hands looked strong enough to crush metal. A woman stepped forward from behind the captain. She was smaller, wearing a different style of uniform. I am Diplomat Ah, she said with a warm smile. I apologize if our arrival was alarming. We wanted to ensure we could provide adequate protection. Protection, repeated, still trying to process what he was seeing. You brought 300 warships for protection. They have thousands, Ah pointed out. We needed to make sure we had enough. Led them to a conference room. As they walked, he noticed other humans looking around with interest. They moved with an easy grace that was somehow threatening. Every movement was controlled and purposeful. They did not shuffle or stumble like civilized species. They walked like hunters stalking prey. In the conference room, Captain Min pulled up tactical displays. We have analyzed the fleet movements. They are concentrated in 3 main battle groups. Their tactics rely on overwhelming firepower and numerical superiority. They expect their enemies to retreat. Everyone does retreat, said quietly. No one can stand against the in open battle. We can, Min said simply. Admiral HFY's hologram appeared in the room. Ambassador, we need to discuss our strategy. They have blockaded 2 of your colony worlds. We propose a direct assault to break the blockade. Direct assault? His voice rose in pitch. That would be suicide. They have over 1,000 ships in that sector. We have faced worse odds, HFY replied calmly. Ah spoke up, her voice soothing. Ambassador, I understand this is frightening, but you need to understand what humans are. We come from a world that is much harsher than yours. Our gravity is stronger. Our weather is more violent. Our planet is full of predators and diseases and natural disasters. Whispered, remembering the classification from the file. Yes, Ah confirmed. Earth is what you would call it made us strong, it made us fast, it made us very, very good at surviving and at fighting. One of the scientists, Elder, had been listening quietly. Now he spoke up. What is your gravity? 1.3 times standard, Ah answered. His eyes widened. You live in 1.3 gravity, that would crush most species. It makes us stronger, Captain Min explained. Our bones are denser, our muscles are more powerful. We can run for hours without stopping. We heal quickly from injuries. What do you breathe? Asked, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, traces of other gases. That is far too much oxygen. It would be toxic. Ah shrugged. It is normal for us. We actually need that much oxygen to fuel our bodies. Was beginning to understand. These humans were not like other species. They were not peaceful researchers or gentle philosophers. They were survivors from a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. They had evolved to be strong, fast, and dangerous. "Why did you come?" he asked suddenly. "You owe us nothing. You are new to the galactic community. Why risk your lives for strangers?" Captain Min met his eyes. "Because you asked. Because someone needs to stand up to bullies. Because on Earth we have a saying, the strong protect the weak. It is what separates civilization from barbarism." "But you are warriors," protested. "You bring weapons and warships." "Yes," Min agreed. "We are warriors, but we are warriors with honor. We fight to protect, not to conquer." Admiral Haywan's hologram leaned forward. "Ambassador, I need to be honest with you. Our methods may seem brutal to you. We do not fight the way galactic species fight. We fight to win quickly and decisively. There will be violence. There will be casualties, but we will save your people." Looked around the room, at the armed human soldiers standing at attention, at Captain Min with his predator's eyes, at Diplomat Ah who breathed toxic air and lived in crushing gravity, at the hologram of Admiral Haywan, cold and calculating. "You are frightening," he admitted. "I know," Ah said gently, "but we are on your side." "When do we begin?" asked. "Immediately," Haywan replied. "Captain Min, prepare your fleet. We hit the blockade in 48 hours. "Understood, Admiral." Min stood and saluted. His soldiers snapped to attention in perfect unison. As the humans prepared to leave, stopped Ah at the door. "Diplomat, may I ask a question?" "Of course." "Your people, these, are you all like this, all warriors?" Ah smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. "No, Ambassador. Most humans just want to live in peace. But we learned long ago that if you want peace, you must be ready for war. Every human child learns to fight, even if they hope they never have to. It is how we survived our world." "And now you come to save ours," said softly. "Yes, because someone has to, and because we can." After the humans left, sent an urgent message to the council. His hands shook as he composed it. "We asked for help. We got monsters who think they are heroes, but I believe they truly want to help us. I believe they will fight for us. I believe they might actually win. May the stars have mercy on them, because I do not think the humans will." 48 hours until battle. 48 hours until the galaxy learned what happens when you threaten us friends. They had no idea what was coming. Ambassador floated in the observation room of the UES Indomitable, watching through the massive viewport as the human fleet moved through space. Admiral Haywan had insisted he travel with them to observe their capabilities. Now he wondered if that was a good idea. Everything about the ship was wrong. The corridors were too narrow. The gravity was too heavy. He had to wear a support harness just to stand upright. The humans moved around him easily, carrying equipment and laughing with each other as if the crushing gravity was nothing. A young human marine named Dong had been assigned as his guide. The man was massive, with broad shoulders and arms thick with muscle. He carried his bag without effort while struggled just to walk. "Are you okay, Ambassador?" Dong asked. "Do you need to rest?" "I am fine," lied, breathing hard. They had only walked 50 meters. "The gravity is set to Earth standard," Dong explained. 1.3 times what you are used to. We can lower it in your quarters if you want." "That would be appreciated." They passed a large room where dozens of humans were engaged in some kind of activity. Stopped and stared. Two humans, both wearing protective padding, were fighting each other with their bare hands. They moved with incredible speed, throwing punches and kicks that would shatter bone. The others watched and shouted encouragement. "What are they doing?" asked in horror. "Training," Dong replied cheerfully. "Hand-to-hand combat practice. It is good exercise." One of the fighters, a woman with short dark hair, delivered a powerful kick that sent her opponent sprawling. The crowd cheered. The fallen man laughed and got back up, ready to continue. "They are hurting each other," said, "for fun." "It is just sparring," Dong assured him. "See the padding, it prevents serious injury, usually." "Usually." As if to answer, the woman threw a punch that connected with her opponent's arm. There was a sharp crack. The man grunted in pain and stepped back, holding his arm. "Break," someone shouted. A medic rushed over. Expected the injured man to be carried away. Instead, the medic scanned his arm with a device, injected him with something, and wrapped it in a supportive sleeve. The whole process took less than 5 minutes. "Fractured ulna," the medic announced. "You will be fine in a few days. Stay out of heavy combat until then." "A few days?" asked Dong. "He broke his arm, that should take months to heal." "Humans heal fast," Dong said with a shrug. "Broken bones, torn muscles, even major injuries. Our bodies are designed to take damage and keep working. It is how we survived on Earth." The woman who had caused the injury walked over to her opponent. They bumped fists and laughed together. She said something that made him smile despite his injury. "They are not angry at each other?" asked. "Why would they be angry? It was just training. Sun is one of our best fighters. Getting to spar with her is an honor even if you get hurt." Followed Dong to the mess hall. The smell hit him first. Sharp, pungent odors that made his eyes water. Humans sat at tables, eating food that looked and smelled toxic. "Would you like to try some human food?" Dong offered. I have my own rations, thank you." Dong sat down with a tray piled high with food. There was some kind of red meat, a vegetable covered in orange sauce, and a dark liquid that steamed. He picked up a small bottle and poured red liquid over everything. "What is that?" asked. "Hot sauce made from peppers. Want to try? This is the mild version." His medical scanner started beeping warnings. "My scanner says that substance contains capsaicin at dangerous levels." "Yeah, it has a bit of a kick." Dong took a large bite and chewed happily. Against his better judgment, dipped one finger into the sauce and touched it to his tongue. Pain exploded in his mouth. His medical suite activated immediately, flooding his system with neutralizing agents. He gasped for air while Dong watched in concern. "Are you okay? That was the mild sauce. I didn't think it would hurt you." "It took 5 minutes to recover." "How do you eat that?" he demanded. "It is poison." "It is just spicy. Humans love spicy food. We also eat fermented foods, aged foods, things that would make most species sick. Our digestive systems can handle it." A scientist named Wu joined them at the table. He was smaller than Dong but moved with the same easy grace all humans seemed to possess. He carried a data pad covered in notes. "Ambassador, good to see you. I am the ship's. I have been studying your species' physiology. Fascinating stuff." "Thank you," said warily. "I wanted to share some comparative data with you. Help you understand why humans are so different." Wu activated his data pad, projecting charts into the air. "Human reaction time is approximately 0.2 seconds. What is yours?" "0.5 seconds," answered. "So we react more than twice as fast. Our vision processes movement extremely quickly because we evolved as hunters. We needed to track fast prey." "Hunters," repeated. "All humans are predators." "Our ancestors were, yes. We ate meat to survive. Our eyes are positioned at the front of our face to judge distance when catching prey. Our teeth are designed to tear meat. Our digestive system can break down almost anything organic." Captain Min entered the mess hall and walked over to their table. "Ambassador, I hope you are settling in. I wanted to discuss the upcoming battle." "Of course, Captain." Min pulled up a tactical display. They will not expect us to attack directly. They are used to enemies who run away. We will not run. We will close to weapons range and engage." "How close?" asked nervously. 10,000 kilometers. Blood went cold. "That is suicide. Normal engagement range is 100,000 kilometers. You will be destroyed." "No," Min said calmly. "They will be destroyed. Our weapons work differently than galactic standard. We do not use energy beams. We use kinetic weapons that fire metal slugs at tremendous speed, missiles with nuclear warheads. These weapons are most effective at close range." "Nuclear weapons," whispered. "Those are banned by galactic law." "Earth is not bound by those laws," Wu pointed out. "We never signed the Galactic Warfare Convention. We developed nuclear weapons during our own wars before we even left our planet." "You used nuclear weapons against yourselves." Could not believe what he was hearing. "Twice," Min confirmed. "In a war that happened 200 years ago. We learned from that mistake. Now we only use them against enemies who threaten innocent lives, like the—" Dong stood up. "Ambassador, you should see the Marine training deck. It will help you understand what we can do." Reluctantly followed. The training deck was enormous, filled with obstacles and targets. Marines ran through courses, climbed walls, and practiced with weapons. What struck was the intensity. Every human pushed themselves to their limits and beyond. He watched a Marine named Bora run a course that involved climbing a 10-meter wall, crawling under electrified wires, and shooting targets while moving. She completed it in less than 2 minutes, then immediately ran it again to beat her time. "How long can humans run?" asked. "Hours," Dong replied. "On Earth, our ancestors hunted by chasing animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We called it persistence hunting. We just kept running until the prey could not run anymore." "That is terrifying." "That is evolution. Earth made us strong or it killed us. The weak did not survive." Captain Min walked up behind them. "Ambassador, I want you to understand something. We are not monsters, even though we might seem that way to you. We are just survivors. Earth taught us to be tough, to never give up, to protect our own. You asked for help. That makes you one of our own now." "But you barely know us," protested. "Does not matter. You needed help. We can provide it. That is enough." That night, in his quarters with the gravity reduced to comfortable levels, recorded a message for the council. His hands still shook as he spoke. "I have spent 2 days with the humans. I have seen them train. I have seen them eat poison for pleasure. I have seen them break bones and laugh about it. I have learned that their reaction time is twice ours, their strength is 3 times ours, and their endurance is beyond measurement. They come from a world that kills the weak, so only the strong survive. They are predators, they are warriors, they are terrifying. But they are also honorable. They fight to protect, not to conquer. They believe the strong must help the weak. They came across the galaxy because we asked. I believe they will save us. I believe they will destroy and I believe that after this is over, the galaxy will never be the same. We did not just ask for help. We woke up the monsters, and those monsters have decided to be our friends. May the stars help anyone who makes them into enemies." Warlord sat on his command throne aboard the flagship, watching the sensor displays with amusement. The primitive humans were actually coming to fight him. How entertaining. His communications officer had intercepted their transmissions. They spoke of honor and protection, of saving the weak, foolish concepts. The strong took what they wanted. The weak died. That was the natural order. "How many ships do they have?" asked, his voice a deep rumble. 300, Warlord, all smaller than our cruisers. Laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. He commanded 1,000 warships. His warriors were bred for battle, standing 3 meters tall with armored skin and massive strength. These humans thought they could challenge him. "Let them come," he ordered. "We will crush them and then finish it will be a good day." On the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Captain Min watched the fleet on his displays. 1,000 ships against 300. The numbers did not bother him. Numbers were not everything. "All ships report ready, Captain," his tactical officer announced. "Admiral Haywon sends her regards," the communications officer added. "She says to make Earth proud." Min smiled. "Tell the Admiral we will do our best. All ships prepare for combat. We engage in 30 minutes. Ambassador stood in a corner of the bridge, strapped into a safety harness. His medical suite was working overtime to keep him calm. He was about to witness the first battle between humans and another galactic species. "Captain, should I go to my quarters?" asked nervously. "You are safer here," Min replied. "If the ship is damaged, the bridge has the best protection. Besides, you wanted to see what we can do." "I am not sure anymore." The fleet moved forward. Human ships did not use the smooth, graceful movements of galactic vessels. They moved with purpose, like predators stalking prey. They formed up in tight formations, each ship covering its neighbors. "Enemy fleet is moving to intercept," the sensor officer reported. "They are forming a standard defensive wall." "Of course they are," Min said. "They expect us to engage at long range and then run away when we take damage. Helm, take us to 10,000 kilometers." 10,000, the helm officer confirmed. "That is very close, sir." "That is exactly where we need to be. All ships match our approach. Weapons, prepare, and missile batteries." They watched in confusion as the human fleet accelerated directly toward them. This was not normal behavior. Enemies were supposed to stop at safe range and exchange fire until one side retreated. "Warlord, they are not slowing down," an officer shouted. "They will break at 50,000 kilometers," said confidently. "No one is foolish enough to come closer." But the humans did not break. They kept coming. At 20,000 kilometers, they opened fire. Energy beams lanced out, striking human ships. Shields flared and held. Some ships took damage, but they kept coming. At 15,000 kilometers, stood from his throne. "What are they doing?" At 10,000 kilometers, the human fleet fired. Slugs, each one a solid piece of metal, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, tore through space. They punched through shields like they were not even there. The shields were designed to deflect energy, not solid matter moving at such incredible speeds. Missiles followed, hundreds of them. Some carried conventional warheads. Others carried nuclear weapons that detonated in brilliant flashes of light. Ships started dying. "All ships focus fire," roared, "destroy them." But the humans did not fight like any enemy they had faced. They did not stay in one place. They moved constantly, weaving between ships, using their smaller size and greater maneuverability. They worked in groups, with 3 or 4 ships targeting a single vessel and destroying it before moving to the next target. On the Indomitable, Min directed the battle with calm efficiency. "Target that cruiser. Full barrage. Missile ships prepare nuclear strike on the dreadnought at Grid 7. The ship shook as weapons hit them. "Shields at 60%, the tactical officer reported. "Damage control teams to Deck 5. Helm, roll us 40 degrees and increase speed. Get us out of their firing solution." The ship turned and accelerated, dodging the next volley. Min's hands moved across his controls, highlighting targets for his crew. He had trained for this his entire adult life. Every simulation, every exercise had prepared him for this moment. "Nuclear missiles away," the weapons officer shouted. 6 missiles streaked toward the dreadnought. Its shields managed to stop 3. The other 3 detonated against its hull. The massive ship broke apart in a cascade of explosions. Watched in horror and awe, the humans fought with a precision and brutality he had never imagined. They did not hesitate. They did not show mercy. They simply destroyed everything in their path. "Captain, the flagship is trying to escape," the sensor officer reported. Not today, Min said coldly. All ships focus fire on the Admiral Hayone wants the warlord alive if possible, dead if necessary. Watched his fleet dying around him. In 20 minutes of combat, he had lost 300 ships. 300. The humans had lost only 40 vessels, and many of those were still fighting despite heavy damage. Retreat, he ordered. All ships jump to hyperspace. But the humans had planned for that. They had positioned ships to block the escape routes. Vessels trying to jump found their hyperspace drives disrupted by human jamming technology. We are trapped, his navigator reported in despair. Min opened a communication channel directly to the flagship. Warlord, this is Captain Min of the UES Indomitable. You have two choices. Surrender now or we will destroy your ship. You have 60 seconds to decide. Stared at the human's face on his display. The human was smaller than a warrior, but those eyes were hard and cold. There was no mercy there, only grim determination. You cannot defeat me in personal combat, growled. I challenge you, human. Single combat, as is the right of a warlord. Min was quiet for a moment, then he smiled, showing his teeth. Accepted, prepare to be boarded. Against the advice of his entire crew, Min led a boarding party to the flagship. They cut through the airlock and entered the ship. Warriors attacked immediately, but human marines were ready. Sergeant Sun fought beside her captain, her weapon firing in controlled bursts. A warrior twice her size charged at her. She ducked under his swing, shot him in the leg, then delivered a kick to his knee that shattered the joint. He fell, and she moved on to the next target. The Marines fought their way to the command deck. Bodies of warriors littered the corridors. Some human Marines were injured, but they kept fighting. One Marine named Bora took a severe wound to her side but refused to fall back. I will die when I am done, she snarled, pressing a medical patch over the injury and continuing to fight. They reached the throne room, stood waiting, holding a massive blade. He was enormous, 3 meters tall with muscles like steel cables. He had fought hundreds of battles and killed thousands of enemies. Min drew his combat knife and advanced. The difference in size was ridiculous, should have won easily. But size was not everything. The warlord attacked with brutal strength, swinging his blade in wide arcs. Min was faster. He dodged and weaved, looking for openings, was strong but slow. Min was smaller but quicker, and he had been trained by the best fighters on Earth. The fight lasted 3 minutes. Min used speed and tactics, targeting weak points, staying out of range of those powerful swings. When overextended on one attack, Min moved in. His knife found the gap in the warlord's armor, sliding between ribs. Fell to his knees, disbelief in his eyes. How? He gasped. You wanted war, Min said quietly. We invented it, thousands of years of practice. You never had a chance. The battle was over. Of the 1,000 ships, only 60 remained. They surrendered immediately when their warlord fell. Human casualties, 12%. Casualties, 94%. The galaxy would remember this day. The day that proved that sometimes the smallest species could be the most dangerous, especially when they fought for something they believed in. The Galactic Union Assembly Hall had never been so full. Representatives from every member species crowded into the chamber, all wanting to witness this historic moment. The humans were here, and everyone wanted to see the who had defeated thee in a single battle. Ambassador stood at his podium, his hands shaking despite his best efforts to remain calm. Around him he could hear whispers and murmurs, fear, curiosity, disbelief. The main doors opened. Diplomat Ah entered first, walking with quiet confidence. Behind her came Captain Min, still wearing his military uniform. Then Admiral Hayone, small and severe, her gray hair pulled back tight. A contingent of human Marines followed, their weapons clearly visible. The whispers grew louder. No one had ever brought armed guards into the assembly before. But then again, No one had ever destroyed 1,000 warships in 18 hours before either. The representative, a being of living crystal, spoke first. This is highly irregular. Weapons are forbidden in the assembly. Ah smiled politely. With respect, Representative, the Galactic Union Charter says that members may bring appropriate security. These Marines are our security. You call armed soldiers appropriate. The representative, speaking through their hive connection, sounded disturbed. We come from a dangerous world, Ah replied calmly. This is normal for us. The Speaker of the Assembly, a named, called for order. His telepathic voice echoed in everyone's minds, though the humans seemed unbothered by it. Another sign of their unusual nature. We are here to discuss the recent military action in space, announced. The species known as humans intervened in a conflict between the Horde and the Commonwealth. The results were unprecedented. Unprecedented is one word for it, the representative said. Horrifying is another. We have reviewed the battle recordings. The human use of force was excessive and brutal. Admiral Haywan stepped forward. They were committing genocide. They had already killed billions of. We stopped them. How is that excessive? You used nuclear weapons. You engaged at suicidal ranges. You boarded enemy vessels and fought hand-to-hand. This crystal structure flickered with agitation. These are not the actions of a civilized species. No, Captain Min agreed quietly. They are the actions of a species that knows how to win wars. You asked them to die quietly while you watched. We chose to fight. Stood from his seat, if I may speak. Nodded permission. The Galactic Union failed us, said, his voice gaining strength as he spoke. We begged for help. We pleaded for protection. Every species in this room said no. You were too afraid, too civilized, too peaceful to stand against the. We were going to die. He turned to look at the humans. Then they came. Yes, they are frightening. Yes, their methods are brutal, but they saved us. They fought for strangers across the galaxy because we asked, because it was right. How many of you can say the same? Silence filled the chamber. The representative spoke up. The humans are dangerous. They come from they are predators. They use weapons that violate our laws of war. How can we trust them? Ah walked to the center of the chamber, her footsteps echoing in the quiet. You ask how you can trust us. Let me tell you about Earth. Yes, it is a dangerous world. Yes, we are predators. But do you know what else we are? She activated a holographic display showing images of Earth. Beautiful cities, green forests, blue oceans, people of every color and culture living together. We are survivors who learned to cooperate. We are warriors who chose peace when we could. We are predators who decided the strong should protect the weak. Earth taught us to be tough, but we chose to be kind. More images appeared. Human doctors treating alien patients. Human engineers building homes on colonies. Human teachers showing alien children how to read. In the 3 weeks since the battle, our people have sent medical supplies, food, and construction materials to the worlds. We have asked for nothing in return. We did not come to conquer. We came to help. Admiral Haywan added, we know what you see when you look at us. Monsters, dangerous predators, and you are right. We are all those things. But we are also the species that ran into a war zone to save strangers. That says something about who we are. The representative, a being of pure thought and light, floated forward. What do the humans want? What is your price for this service? Captain Min looked surprised. Price? We do not want payment, the needed help. We provided it. Everyone wants something, they insisted. Then we want this, Ah said firmly. We want full membership in the Galactic Union. We want to be part of this community. We want to work together to build something better. And we want to make sure that next time someone calls for help, they get it. You want to change how we operate, observed. Yes, Admiral Haywan confirmed. The current system failed. The nearly died because no one would fight. That cannot happen again. If the Union is going to be more than a discussion club, it needs to be able to protect its members. The representative made a sound like breaking glass. You want us to become warriors like you, to embrace violence. No, Min said. We want you to let us be warriors for you. We will fight. You can keep your peaceful ways, but when violence comes, and it always does eventually, we will stand against it. You would fight our battles? The asked skeptically. We would fight to protect innocent lives, Ah corrected. That is what we did that is what we will do for any member of the Union who needs it. Stood again. I support human membership. They saved my people. They prove they are trustworthy. I vote yes. They are biased, they argued. Of course they support the humans. Are we biased or are we grateful? Countered. Is it biased to support those who saved us when you would not? The debate continued for hours. Some species were afraid of humanity's military power. Others were impressed by their effectiveness. Many were simply uncertain about allowing into their civilized society. Finally, called for a vote, all in favor of granting full membership to the human species. The results appeared on the main display. It was close, but the vote passed. Ah bowed respectfully. Thank you. Earth promises to be a responsible member of this union. We will use our strength wisely. See that you do, warned. The galaxy will be watching. As the assembly adjourned, representatives from various species approached the humans. Some wanted to thank them. Others wanted to discuss trade agreements. A few wanted to learn about human military tactics. The representative approached Ah privately. I voted against you, he admitted. I think you are too dangerous. I understand, Ah replied. But I also want to thank you for saving you did what we could not, what we would not. Will you trust us eventually? The flickered thoughtfully. Ask me in a few years. For now I will watch, and I will hope that you truly are the heroes you claim to be, not the monsters I fear. That is fair, Ah agreed. 5 years passed. Human military academies opened their doors to alien students. Species that had never considered warfare learned tactics and strategy from the best fighters in the galaxy. But the humans also learned from the aliens. Advanced technology, scientific theories, artistic techniques. Human merchants traveled to hundreds of worlds, trading Earth goods for alien products. Human culture spread through the galaxy. Alien music mixed with human styles. Human literature was translated into 1,000 languages. But everyone remembered the lesson of the Battle of Prime. Earth was humans were predators. And when said, we will protect you, they meant it with every fiber of their being. The second test came 5 years after the first. An enemy from beyond known space arrived, the creatures that existed partly outside normal reality. They consumed worlds, leaving nothing behind. They struck the first. The Galactic Union panicked. How could they fight something that barely existed in their dimension? Admiral Haywan, now commanding the combined Union defense fleet, had an answer. We will find a way. We always do. That is what we survive the impossible. Captain Min, now an admiral himself, led the defense. Humans and aliens worked together, combining their knowledge and abilities. It was not easy. Casualties were heavy, but they won. Because when a species spends millions of years learning to survive on a world that constantly tries to kill them, they develop certain traits: stubbornness, creativity, the absolute refusal to give up. Diplomat Ah, now the human ambassador to the Galactic Union, gave a speech after the victory. They asked for help and got with an armada. Today, they asked for help and got with friends. That is the difference 5 years made. We are not just warriors anymore. We are your warriors, and we will stand against any threat, no matter how impossible, because that is what family does. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Were dangerous, yes, but they were also loyal, stubborn, and unwilling to let their friends die. And that made all the difference.